Lambert Creek, formerly known as County Ditch 14, along with its branch ditches, has both challenges and assets for the Vadnais Lake area watershed. Starting at Goose Lake and flowing into Vadnais, it's an important part of our watershed and part of the drinking water source for the St. Paul Regional Water Services. Caring for Lambert Creek is a team effort involving a variety of stakeholders working together. As a natural water cycle going way back to the glacial era, our shallow lakes and wetlands hold and clean water by moving it slowly through plants and soil. These pools were largely created by glacial outwash, which is sediment that settled with glacial meltwater. But it's a paradox because it's not quite an easy landscape to build on. While early settlers saw the maze of wetlands to be messy and inconvenient, they also found ample fresh water and rich soil thanks to the wetlands. So it's understandable that they wanted to make it work. Just fill in a little here, drain over there, and you have a homestead with plenty of water nearby. Fast forward to the late 1800s, early 1900s, where agriculture drained many shallow lakes and wetlands. The natural stream and network of wetlands from Goose Lake to Rice Lake, Grass Lake, Lambert Lake, then into Vadnais, was largely drained and channeled to form Ditch 14 and its branch ditches. So these sorts of drainage practices became common around the country. They got results, but they weren't perfect. Too much drainage was a big part of the Dust Bowl in the 30s. The 40s, 50s, and even well into the 80s contained controversies, policies, and laws that sought to balance the dilemma of surface water. To live with it or manipulate it? How much drainage is too much? Where should it go when it drains? On one hand, you have a natural system that works to filter and store surface water while replenishing the groundwater, and on the other, a need for productivity and efficiency. And we're still fine-tuning this today. In 1986, Vlamo became the ditch authority for County Ditch 14, and the name was then changed to Lambert Creek. Much of the area was developed before the Wetland Conservation Act in 1991. This statewide and federal policy was a response to Minnesota losing about half of its wetlands. Gradually, a valuable resource was being chipped away, and what was left was expected to pick up the slack. However, areas with historic wetlands still echo their original purpose during periods of high water, despite developments that have drained and filled wetlands. This is partly because of drainage patterns and topography, but also because once soil is saturated, the chemical composition changes to low oxygen, hydric soil. It's rich in nutrients and a hotspot for decomposition and nutrient cycling. Even if it's dry for decades, a wet year can quickly turn hydric soil back to a sort of sponge. And this is where the complications come in. If they only seem to bring a bunch of hassle, what are wetlands good for? Let's have a look. Many wetlands are only seasonally wet, but still have important roles to our landscape and water resources. They do have a lifespan, meaning over time they fill up with sediment naturally. Our practices tend to speed up that process, which is why it's important to take care of them. They provide storage for rainwater, which stabilizes our lakes and streams. They recharge the groundwater, prevent erosion, stabilize sediments, and act as a nutrient processing factory so that lakes don't have to, filter toxins, and even improve air quality. They can also provide habitat for a diverse array of animals, such as migrating waterfowl, and hold heat to buffer high temperatures. In short, when Lambert Creek's chain wetlands are functioning well, they improve the quality of life for all of us. So what projects have been completed to resolve flooding issues and improve the creek? A big one are weirs. Weirs function like a dam and are placed downstream from wetlands. When rain events bring high water conditions, the weirs allow the wetlands to hold more water. The dynamic water levels are focused in that space, allowing wetland soils and plants to buffer the changes with fewer extremes on the main creek channel. This allows surface water to act and move how nature intended, while minimizing flooding issues elsewhere. Of course, there's still problem areas to address on the creek, but we're cautious. The best way forward is to ensure that addressing one problem here doesn't cause another problem over there. Together with St. Paul Regional Water Service and Ramsey County, Vadnais initiated 4 weir projects in places of historical wetlands. The County Road F weir, which is Historical Grass Lake, in 1993. The Oak Mead weir, which is Rice Lake, in 1993. The Whitaker weir, installed in 1996 and renovated in 2010. And Lambert Lake construction in 2005. This is a weir that's a bit larger and creates a small lake in the place of the historical Lambert Lake. The lake functions to prevent the downstream wetland from being overrun with sediment. And it disperses the sediment across a wider surface to prevent blockages. Bank restorations have occurred in 2007, 2010, 2013, 2015, and 2017. These prevent erosion and reduce sediment and nutrient loading into the creek. By clearing woody debris that's often invasive buckthorn, honeysuckle, or dense tangles of branches, these projects introduce deep-rooted native plants and shrubs that slow runoff, protect the high and dry spaces, and tidy up the creek. In addition to projects, Vadnais keeps close tabs on the conditions and the water quality of the creek. As a watershed management organization, our records allow us to track changes and foresee warning signs to any problems. Monitoring takes place from May to September every other week. Results are included in our annual monitoring report, which can be found on the website. Additionally, Vadnais conducts wet weather monitoring during rain events to track how contaminants wash into the creek. As an impaired water body for E. coli and also high in nutrients, one of Vadnais' top priorities is to find out how this happens and improve it for the future. Because Lambert Creek is a team effort, residents and businesses are invited to join in the conversation. Vadnais Board and Technical Commission meetings are open to the public. They're a great venue for discussion, policy decisions, and public comment. Meeting times, agendas, and minutes are posted on the Vadnais webpage under Events. If you're planning to dredge a pond or fill a wet area, please be patient. State law has policies and procedures in place for the health of our shared resources. Contact your city, township, or Vadnais to get the right information, restrictions, and permitting processes. Property owners around the creek or anywhere in Vadnais are eligible for Vadnais' cost share program. These help fund watershed improvements such as rain gardens, shoreline or bank restorations, and prairie restorations. They can help deal with wet problem areas in a yard, as well as support clean water for the creek and Vadnais Lake. Find more information, schedule an on-site visit, or get started on an application at vadnais.org under Grants. So thank you for watching and helping us take care of Lambert Creek.